Who surprises you most? Who's not, if not in jail, at least been prosecuted or come close to a trial date amongst the Wall Street crew? Like, is there a specific example that you think, wow, I can't believe these people didn't go to trial?
Well, let's talk about Countrywide, for instance. Okay. No, of course, there was an SEC case involving Angela Mozilla, the creator of Countrywide. Now, Countrywide nearly blew up the entire world, and the innovation of this company was basically that they were going to give a loan to anything with a pulse, and this was part and parcel of the whole scam that underlined the entire subprime mortgage crisis, and it was a very crude fraud scam, actually. It was just dressed up in a lot of camouflaging jargon. Basically, banks lent billions of dollars to companies like Countrywide, who in turn went out to poor and middle-class neighborhoods, gave loans out to everybody that they could find. I talked to one former mortgage broker who worked for a company like Countrywide, who used to go to 7-Elevens at night and hang around the beer cooler, and that was how he found clients to give mortgages to. Anyway, they would go out and they would create these gigantic masses of loans, and it didn't matter whether the people had enough income to pay. It didn't matter whether they were citizens, whether they had identification, whether they were real people at all. Whatever. They created the loans, they sold them back to the banks pooled the loans, they chopped them up into securities, and then they more or less instantly turned around and sold these securities to institutional investors like pension funds, foreign hedge funds, foreign trade unions. In other words, it was this giant scam. You had people who thought they were buying AAA-rated real estate here in the United States. In fact, they were buying the home loans of extremely risky home borrowers here in the U.S., and Countrywide was at the center of this whole thing. I mean, I talked to a whistleblower from Countrywide who was hired to be part of their quality control team, of all things. And he tells a story of pulling into the parking lot to meet with Angelo Mazzillo and his lieutenants. And he sees there's a fancy car in the parking lot that has a personalized license plate that says Fundum. And when he asked about it, they're basically like, yeah, we give mortgages to everybody who asks. And their irresponsibility nearly blew up the entire international financial system. And Angelo Mozilla made about $500 million working at Countrywide, and he was fined by the SEC something on the order of $49 million, most of which was covered by an insurance policy by Bank of America, which by then had acquired Countrywide. So he ended up out of his pocket only paying about $1 million, $2 million. And he walked away with something like $400 million that he got to keep, and he's not doing any time. And to me, that's an example of the kind of person that he's the patient zero of the financial crisis. And not only does he not do time, he gets to keep all of his money too.